and it's taking. All right, it looks like we are now live streaming. That's what my screen says. So we're good for that. Just so you know, we are being recorded. Governor Kurt, would you like to start us off this evening with a welcome and a few words, please?
Sure. Well, like Lisa says, I'd like to welcome everybody tonight. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules to join us. You know, it's in the installation of officers. I believe the statement is that the secretary is often the club unsung hero. Quite often, the secretary is the one that continues year after year, maybe for 4 or 5 years, or in some cases a little bit longer. And quite often, the secretary is the one that everybody looks to have the answers when somebody, well, what did we do? What did we do last year? What did we do the year before? The first person they come to is the secretary to find those answers. So hopefully after tonight, you'll be able to pick up a few tips and tricks on how to do your job better. And hopefully it'll be a beneficial evening for you to have a little discussion with fellow secretaries. So I actually fit right into this group because not only am I governor for the Nebraska-Iowa district this year, but I am my club's secretary treasurer. So I guess I'll turn it back to you, Lisa. Again, thanks to everybody for coming tonight.
Okay, thank you, Kurt. Well, also on with us this evening, I think she's still here and not playing out with the neighbor kids in the backyard. So glad to see your smiling face yet, is Kathy Szymanski. Kathy comes to us from Pennsylvania this evening. She is the international trustee, and we are very, very honored and happy this year to call her our district friend and counselor. So Kathy, would you like to say a few words this evening?
Of course I do. Are you kidding? Hi, everyone, and so happy to see you. And thank you for reaching out and inviting me. Kurt, I don't know if you know this, but I'm my Kiwanis Club secretary as well. And quite frankly, I don't know about the rest of you, but I secretly kind of like it. You know, I know it's a tough job, but I actually enjoy being the secretary of the club. A couple of things, I'm going to be very quick because I'm not insulting myself. I probably have the least amount of information to share with you this evening. I'd rather have questions from you. But for those of you that have registered for the Amplify, thank you. I believe I'm showing, Lisa, you guys have 7 registered to date, and the end of this is April 1st. Just so you know, Kiwanis' international goal was to have 300. We were going to be thrilled to get 300, and we're at 352 for our Amplify program. And yes, Jerry, look at you. I'm like that too. We're so excited. The more people, you know, the more we all learn from each other. So it's very, very exciting that, you know, we've started off this program and we're going to be where we are. Also, I'm sure all of you heard this by now, but you know, we do have the conference coming up in Salt Lake City, and I'm sure Brad or Governor is going to be talking about this a little bit, but registration is open. It's June 24th through the 26th. We're very excited about it. As far as how many people can register, it really depends on the capacity limits at that time for Salt Lake City. You know, right now we know, you know, the magic number is 604. We don't know what that number will be. So register, there's a joke somewhere, early, register often or something like that. But we're very excited. There's going to be a lot of leadership courses and we've recreated it, as you can imagine, for this coming year for the leadership conference. And there's going to be a lot. It's also going to be virtually online, so you can watch it online as well. And I'm going to put the link. Yeah, well, actually, Lisa's probably sent it out enough to you guys, but if you want to find out more information, Lisa has all of that. And once again, thank you for inviting me. And if anybody has any questions, you could put it in the chat or you can ask me right now. I'm an open book.
I can only go to everybody though.
Okay. All right. We'll have question and answer time later too. So be thinking up your really hard questions for Kathy. Let's see if we can stump her tonight, huh? Okay. We also have Brad Boyd with us this evening. Brad is the area director from Kiwanis International, and I think we see Brad quite a bit. So we just kind of claim him as a Nebraska-Iowan sometimes. That's okay. But Brad, thank you so much for joining this evening, and you're it. Please share with us.
I think Lisa was trying to tell you that I'm like a bad penny. I just keep showing up. So at any rate, it's wonderful. I am not my club secretary. I'm the membership guru, or a big surprise on that front and all, but I did bring in a member last week. So that's pretty good during a pandemic. But I did go through the training, particularly when we moved it more online. And so I have a deep respect and high regard for all of you who are club secretaries, because I know you're the glue that holds the whole organization together. You also tend to know some of the good dirt on everybody too. So I have to be friendly with the club secretaries, but I echo Kathy's sentiments in terms of the Amplify program. I think the soft skills is going to be a wonderful opportunity for $200 to get exposed to, I think, 38 outside experts on different facets. Is going to be a wonderful opportunity for everyone. Likewise, the ELC and SLC, that really rolls off the tongue. But I'm working on a membership component of that and other colleagues. And so we're just starting to pull that all together. But go to Salt Lake City if you have had those 2 shots or 1 shot, whatever, and want to just be able to finally get surrounded in person with fellow Kiwanians. If you feel like health is compromised or you want to, you have some conflicts and want to stay home, the entry point to be able to listen in virtually is next to nothing. So I also heard on one of the calls this week that it's open for you to register for the ASPAC conference, leadership conference, which are Asia Pacific. I think it's only like $15 or something to do it. So it'd be really interesting to get on there and find out what, how many similarities there are with secretaries over in the Asia Pacific clubs as well and everything. So in this age of Zoom, we can get around and just see how everybody does it, maybe learn a trick or two going forward. But again, I just want to thank you for your service to your clubs and to Kiwanis and for keeping things going. I know this has been an incredibly difficult year, and I'd be remiss if I didn't also say how important it is for you to turn in those reports in a timely manner and make them as comprehensive as possible. I know that a lot of times we don't completely reflect, I think, all the service hours that we're putting in, because not every club secretary is doing it on a regular basis like they should be. And so our statistics all sort of hinge on that. So when you hear a figure like for every new member we bring into Kiwanis, we can extend our service to 206 children around the world, that is all predicated on the important work that you do and the numbers that you submit. And so I want to make sure that they're not woefully underrepresented, that we can really take credit for all the wonderful things that you and your clubs are doing. So thanks again, and I'll be open for any KI questions through the evening. Thanks.
All right, thank you, Brad. Just because we do have such a large group on tonight, I know as Kiwanians, we always like to know who's sitting around our fellowship table, but since we do have quite a few on, there's some challenges to introductions for everybody, but I'll tell you what's going to happen. I will make sure after tonight you get a list of everybody that's on. I see most of you have your names on the screen underneath the pictures, so you can kind of see that way who's on. And again, I'll make sure you get a list of everybody and contact information. So if there's some follow-up or networking or fellowship you want to do, you've got those opportunities. That said, I do want to introduce just a couple of our district leaders who are on this evening. One of them we're going to start off with is I guess I have Don Fritz, Governor-elect, speaking too. So Don, you want to share a couple words?
And greetings, everybody. Thank you for being here. Like a number of you mentioned, I was secretary for our club for 14 years. And Kathy, I liked it too. Yeah, I just like being in the know. But I will tell you, I asked my club members if someone would substitute for me while I go through the chairs of the governorship, and the first year it didn't happen, and now for the next 2 years, a young man stepped up and said he would be secretary, but no more than 2 years, and then I get it back again. So I'll get it back. So I thank you for being here. I also double as a fashion consultant. No comments on my hat, I'm guessing. You know,
Yeah.
my head gets cold, and I've gotten in the habit this winter of wearing my hat, and my wife is just appalled by it. And if she knew I were down here with it on, she'd be down here taking it off of me right now. But anyway, thank you for being here. And I love being secretary, and it is the most important job in the club. There's no question about it. And we are the best members that there can be.
All right. Thank you, Don, and thank you to your hat.
Tell her your wife it could be worse.
There we go. We got a hat war going
Byron,
on.
you are correct. That is worse.
Gotta love that. So, okay. Thank you, Don. We do also have with us this evening, I'd like to mention two of our trustees, our regional trustees. Jim Dane is with us this evening. Thanks, Jim, for coming on. And Gary Lindgren is on. And I think that's all our trustees. And if I missed someone, I'm sorry, you're on my other screen. And we also have with us this evening Vice Governor Linda Henningsen. So Linda, thank you for coming on. Okay, let's power into our next segment here. What's kind of the what's new and what's due. Some of you that were on for our club leadership education training last June, July, and August, we kind of talked about, hey, is there opportunities to, get some updates and kind of recap things during the year? Well, guess what? Thanks to the input from you during those CLEs, this whole concept of CLCs developed. So that's kind of what we're going to do tonight, is just kind of offer a little bit of a refresher and maybe offer to you some new stuff that's going on. So with that, give me just a second here to share my screen. And we will start off with some education. And I do have the chat box opened. So if there's some questions that pop up, we will have question and answer after this, or we'll kind of keep a watch on the chat box as well. So
Lisa, would you like me to do that for you?
yeah, if you want to keep watch of that, if there's something that pops up, Kurt, that'd be great. So appreciate that. Okay, let's start off what's new and what's due with the whole what's due now concept. And Brad gave a great introduction to monthly reports and the statistics and everything that we gather as far as, what's going on in your clubs. And I know I see the names out there. We've got some real seasoned secretaries out there. We know that 10th of the month is when reports are due. I looked today, and you know what, folks? As of today, I think today is the 23rd, which is after the 10th. we only have 59 of our 159 clubs that have reported what went on during the month of February. So we got some work to do, and I'm going to sit here and say report, report, report. And I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I got to get my club's report done too. So it happens. I know we all get swamped. We all get busy with things, but it is important. International is looking at that information to find out what's going on. At the district level, we're looking at that information, what you're reporting, service hours, club activity, all of those kind of things. So it is important to get that done. So if you're one of those 100 clubs, please get your report in. If you're one of those 59 clubs, thank you, thank you, thank you. Keep up the good work. That is so important. Other upcoming things we have is you should have received information directly from Kaya, who is the Camp OK coordinator. Club commitment and deposits for campers are due April 1st. That information is also on the district website, or if you need it, give me a shout out and I will get that to you. You do not have to have, or your schools do not have to have the specific campers identified yet, but they do need to know how many to expect, how many are signed up. So it's important to get those club commitment forms filled out and back to Kaya so the foundation kind of knows what to expect and what's going on as well. They have taken some really good precautions and measures to make sure that the camp is safe and everything is good. So let's promote it and let's get that done. The other thing that should be going on right now is the club officer elections. We know that June 1 is when those need to be reported. So the election should be going on right now. If you need a little refresher in how to do that, here's kind of the quick chart. You can do that right on the secretary dashboard. There's the pull down for the different years, and it's pretty much as simple as clicking on that plus button and typing in the first name, and it's going to come out and populate itself. I think evidently I just nominated myself to continue on as club secretary for the coming year, so I'm already in there. But that's how you do that, and please make sure that you're not only promoting in your club to get those elections done, but you have your officers reported by June 1. Otherwise, I will be calling you and making sure that gets done.
Lisa, this is Jerry. I have a question. Are our officers really, they're due to be not listed by May 1? Because we don't have our elections till the middle of May.
They need to be reported by June 1.
Oh, June 1.
June
Okay,
1.
sorry.
Yep.
Okay. Fuzzy ears. Thank you. We're in compliance.
Oh, I went up too far. There we go. Yep, June 1. You're fine.
Okay.
So as long as you have your, you can start your election process now. Sometimes clubs have different procedures than other clubs, but as long as if you're doing them in mid-May, no problem. Just report by June 1. You're good. Okay.
Linda, or Lisa, Gary here. I've asked this question before, and this is more directed to Kathy and Brad. It's relative to the election report. There are not enough slots for all the different positions. And this has been something that's been ongoing, and I heard in the past that was probably going to change and be more inclusive of the different positions.
What positions are missing?
Well, your vice president's not listed. President-elect is, but not vice president. We've got secretary, treasurer, and associate secretary, associate treasurer. We've got 15 people involved on the board and fill slots relative to officers. There's 9 officers in our club, and there's not enough room for all of them.
Well, Gary, I can tell you, bravo. You know, a lot of us don't have that many, but Brad, I don't know if you've seen it or not, if the new Salesforce has that many positions, because Gary, that is a rarity, and I think you'll hear that from most people on this call this evening, that's a big, even some of the real, how many members are in your club?
89.
Yeah, so I can tell you, I know of a club that has over 100 members, and they definitely don't have that many positions. So it is something I wrote a note down on, is maybe we need to figure out how to make exceptions or whatever. But
Okay.
I don't know.
I applaud you for it, and I'll bring it up as well. I think that I have not seen the Salesforce template that will be rolled out, as to my understanding, on January 1 of this coming year. And so I'll look into that, and I would hope that maybe there's a place that you can at least list them as an addendum to the report, or otherwise, if you can go into Personify and add any positions, you know, their title or whatever, so that we have record that so-and-so has been an assistant treasurer or whatever the other ones that you were mentioning there. But I think that right now the fields are just for the main slots, and that's not to diminish. I think it's wonderful that you have a pipeline. That's exactly what we want to go after, is building a leadership pipeline. So again, I applaud you, and I'll look into it, particularly with Salesforce coming online.
You mentioned Personify. Is that part of Portal?
It's our CRM, our records management, and also really what I'll tell you exactly what you can do as sort of a stopgap or a workaround, Gary, is just call 1-800-Kiwanis extension 411, somebody from member services, or you can email it to member services, all one word, @kiwanis.org. Any of our member services representatives would be glad to write down those names, and then they'll actually go into each member's file and put down what their position is within your club. So that should not be a problem. If that doesn't work for you, let me know, and I'll knock some heads together for you.
No, that can work. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay. All right, good question. It looks like we're going to work through a few things, so good. Okay, next thing that I'm going to say is past due, but guess what? There's still time to fill out, is the youth protection guideline training, because every club is asked to do this on a annual basis, usually at the start of the year. And the district youth protection manager, Linda Plotchek, asks that I remind all the secretaries that this is a requirement for the clubs, and it does need to be reported. And you can report that in Kiwanis Connect. There's just a little checkbox that asks you if your club has done this, and you check it, and that reports it to KI. You also need to slip an email to Linda and say, yes, our club has done that. And that's her way of recording it's been done. And you can see her email on the screen there. And she's also sent some communications out. So please make sure that that gets reported. If you're unsure what you need to provide to your clubs, if you go to the district website, there is a youth protection tab under the menus, and there are documents, PDFs that you can hand out to members. There's a slideshow that you can show them. So there's resources for you. Just make sure, please, that you get it into your members' hands.
Lisa,
Yes.
I also know that Linda will provide that if you ask her. I hate to admit this, but our club is just having it next week, and Linda's going to be providing our protections guideline training for us. And she's happy to do this if she's available.
Yes. Yes.
And she has offered that, so I'm not speaking out of line here. So
yeah, no, thanks, Don. I appreciate that. I did not mention that, but she would be more than happy to do that. So reach out to her. The same thing, kind of along the lines of youth protection, is the background checks. There is a requirement that if your club has a service leadership program, that your Kiwanis advisor to that SLP needs to have a background check. You can also designate any other member who you think should have that background check because of their involvement with kids to do that. For example, in my club, our signature project, the chairman of that committee has direct involvement with kids. So we have a club policy that says whoever chairs that signature project committee has to have a background check. So it's a pretty simple process to get that done in your right next to the secretary dashboard in Kiwanis Connect in your member admin field. You can see like next to my name, then this is a little bit older slide, but you can see when a member's background is set to expire. Yes, mine was set to expire in January, and good news, I did get another clear background check, so that's been updated. No fears there. If you have a member who needs a background check, you will see an envelope. You click on that envelope, an email is going to pop up, a whole other screen with an email, and it will invite that member. It will send the email to that member and invite them to take that background check. There's a link right there that the member clicks on and goes through the process. So literally in 2-3 clicks, you can have an email sent to that member to get that done. It takes, I don't think I'm exaggerating, less than 3 minutes to get that background check information plugged in and get that process started. There is a $25 fee that goes along with that. That is, as long as you're doing it connected to a service project, that is a reimbursable expense that your club can give to that member, and that can come out of your service fund. So that's an important process as well.
Lisa,
Yes.
in regards to the background checks, also, if anybody, including any of the secretaries that happen to be on tonight, is aspiring to move up in leadership, it is a requirement of the Nebraska-Iowa district that lieutenant governors and above also have a clear background check.
Correct. Okay.
And David Kemp has asked the
Yeah, I
question
see that.
that their SLP is on COVID, active COVID, and he's not able to click on the link to send the invitation. Brad, can you answer that question by any chance? Is that just because they're on COVID inactive?
I wouldn't think that would cut them off from communications.
So David, when you click on the envelope or click on this, it won't allow you to do it? Is that what you're saying?
Again, I'll just suggest, and I don't want to be a broken record, but I have, when we were still working from the office, I sat across a ways from our member services department, and they're just phenomenal with what they field. And so I would call them or send them the email, as I said, and ask them about it, and they can very quickly respond or find out, what the deal is and what the best way to deal with your situation is. So I'm sorry I don't have a ready answer right here on the spot tonight, but they could get you one in the morning for sure.
I'm wondering,
Lisa.
I'm wondering if David is in the, if he's into the reporting system, because ours is on COVID active, and I have the ability to invite any of our members.
Yeah, Kurt, sorry, I couldn't get to the pause or the mute button, but
Okay.
from the dashboard, it's grayed out. But when I go back into the member admin, the link is there. So it's
Okay.
just from the dashboard that those are, the links there aren't there. So.
Okay, all right, very good.
If you, as Brad said, if you have any issues with that, contact member services and we'll get that worked through. So good.
If there are issues with the clubs that have moved over from Portal Buzz to the new system that our IT people have been rolling out, Tom Costanzo is the head of the IT area, so they may need to check with him, or you could go directly to him. His last name is Castonzo, tcostanzo@kiwanis.org. But again, it's probably just as easy to go to member services, and then they can chase down the answer for you and get back with you.
All right, good. Okay, we've been talking about member management, so that kind of goes along with this next slide I have up here. And I just wanted to remind y'all that we need to really stay current when we are adding members and coming time to delete members. What we don't want to see is all at the end of the year, all of a sudden we have all these new member adds or all member deletes. It's important to get those new members added as your club approves them and gets them online, because that means they are getting communications from not only your club, but they're getting communications from the district. They're getting emails and other publications from international, and that is just so important to get them connected into the greater scheme of things, so they truly know they are a part of the district, they are a part of international, and what they are doing matters, and we're all connected together that way. So please make sure you get those new members in right away. And I also want to make sure you realize that it is important that when you get a new member in, drop in who their sponsor is. Make sure that current member who invited them to be a member in your club gets credit for that. I can tell you back in November and December, when we had the new member drive, we brought in something like 178, 179 new members, and the new member drive was tied to a cash prize for the sponsor. So any current Kiwanian who brought in a new member was eligible to get a cash prize. Well, there were like 40 new members that did not have a sponsor put in when that new member was added. Guess what? That was 40 opportunities for those members not to be part of that cash prize drawing. So, there's reasons to do that. And obviously the biggest one is to make sure your current members are getting credit for bringing in new members. So that information is important. The date of birth, while you say, is that really important? Yeah, it is, because that's information, that's data that we can collect. Again, I can go back to November, December and tell you out of the new members we brought in, the current average age was 58 point, I believe they're 58.7 or 58.9 years of age. So all good information to have.
Lisa,
Yes.
it's important to say that all member changes, whether it's additions, deletions, have to be done in Kiwanis Connect, not the portal.
Correct. They
Just
have
so
to be,
that people remember that.
Yep, they have to be done through Kiwanis Connect. Good point, John. And we talked about the new member ads, and equally important to do those member deletes through that Kiwanis Connect, and equally important to make sure you drop a reason in there. Those reasons matter too. If it's deceased, non-payment, whatever the purpose is or reason is, go ahead and drop it in. I'm going to put a little bit of a plug in already for the next CLC in April, which is membership, because I'm just going to toss out there, if you are deleting a member for the reasons of attendance or lack of time, just make sure that your club has maybe explored the question of how can we help before you get ready to delete that member, because sometimes maybe reaching out to that member and that hasn't attended for 2 months or 3 months and just saying, hey, what might help you to attend a meeting or attend an activity, or you don't have time to attend meetings, but is there one project that you would be willing to stay into the club and help with? So, before you completely delete that member, as a club, try some member retention things, get them to stick around. The other one that gets popped
Lisa,
up.
real quick on that front, I was just gonna mention two things that are hot buttons of mine. One is to not just take the first drop down option that comes when you're deleting members, because we really don't have good information. So I appreciate you suggesting that they write in whatever the reasons are and everything. And then the other is just in retention, members, too many clubs leave it up to the club board members to make the contact. Go to the person who sponsored them into Kiwanis. It's a lot harder to turn them down. And so that's my recommendation in terms of retention. If we could salvage one or two members that leave each of our clubs every year, we'd be so far better off with membership. So retention is every bit as important as recruitment.
You bet. Good, great point. Yeah. And that moving one, it's if we know that they're moving to another area, hey, they may not be in your club, but if we can retain them in Kiwanis, if they like Kiwanis, the community they're moving to, if there's a Kiwanis club there or nearby, let's help them get connected. And that transfer process is pretty easy for a member. So let's get that done. And as far as does it matter? You bet it matters, because at the district level, we are collecting those reasons. Every month, the governor and the district membership chair gets charts similar to this. This one is actually one that was presented to the district board almost 2 weeks ago now at their meeting. This is the actual reasons for member deletes from October 10th through February 28th of this year. That's the pie chart on the left. On the right is the tracking of, out of those members that have been deleted, how many years were they with the clubs? And what we're trying to hopefully do is, are there trends? Are there reasons? Trying to help with that member retention. And, I just mentioned attendance. Hey, is there a way that we can entice somebody maybe to attend a little bit more? Because you see that piece of the pie there is pretty big. So is moving, so is lack of time. So what can we do to kind of help those members maybe keep them going? And one of the pieces of pie that I'm always going to point out, because I don't understand this, is that smallest one down there at 5 is lack of interest. My gosh, we should be finding a way to help those 5 members understand how important the youth are in our community, and helping them out find interest in our clubs. So just wanted to present this to you and say, is it important that you put those reasons in there? You bet. We are looking at them, and we're trying to use it to make a difference in our clubs. Gary, I see you have the date up there. I think I'm going to address that in just a minute. So if I don't, we'll readdress that later in chat. A couple save the dates I wanted to toss out. We just got done talking about membership, and we will talk more about membership recruitment, membership retention in April. That's the next club leadership chat we have scheduled. Registration is the same as it is for this one. You will register and receive the Zoom link, and that registration link has been sent out to all club secretaries, and we'll make it again available in April. The club leadership education will again be virtual this year. Current club secretaries, you can expect in the mail, I'm guessing late May. I don't know if Shirley is on this evening or not, but I think she will be sending those out late May. We're going to send 3 leadership guides to each club. Those are the same leadership guides that were used this year. So if you have yours, you can go ahead and keep it. We'll recycle that. But please make sure when those come in the mail to you, you pass those on to your incoming officers. It is also available on both the district and the international websites to use as well. The district does have 2 CLEs scheduled already. You see the dates right there. I don't have the exact dates in July and August, but I know KI has a couple virtual CLEs scheduled as well. I am guessing at the district level, we will probably schedule at least one more, maybe later in July or in August, but we'll keep you all informed of that. So please make sure your incoming officers are aware of those dates and have them on the calendar. Of course, we're going to put a plug in for district convention. That's coming up August 6th and 7th. There will be a virtual component to that, but I am very excited, very happy to say that we're going to have an in-person convention. That is the plan. And from all indications, that is going to be possible. Kind of keep watch for more information. We will be getting that out in the coming month here, but we've got some great opportunities for fellowship, education. We have 2 trustees to elect. We'll elect district officers and just have lots of good adventures, lots of fun. And I expect a lot of fellowship. It'll be the first time that as a district, we'll get our members together for 2 years. So really looking forward to that. You heard about Amplify. Kathy talked a little bit about that. There was an April 1 registration deadline. If you need more information, reach out to me. We can get that to you. And of course, you heard about ELC and SLC. There is both in-person as well as virtual aspects of that. More information at Kiwanis.org. So go ahead and check that out and see what the opportunities are. I think there's some really good opportunities. So we'll see that coming. I also said we're going to do a couple what's new announcements, and what's new coming up for October 1 is the new member ad fee will go away and prorated dues are going to come into play for new members. I think for you seasoned secretaries, you'll remember that prorated dues happened a couple, 7, 8, 9 years ago. So that's coming back in. We will discuss that a little bit more at CLE this summer and have more information coming out. But I wanted you to be aware of that, so it didn't totally catch you off guard. And you also heard Kiwanis Connect and the fact that there is going to be a transition coming. Brad mentioned January 1. That's what I've heard as well. It's going to start in the second quarter. From what I have heard right now, the clubs will be notified when the conversions and all that takes effect, and training will be provided. Brad, any more updates? I guess I'm just going off of what was reported in March at the North American District
That's
Secretary.
exactly what I've heard, and I've already been in a Teams chat with 2 of my colleagues, including Gloria Bidgood, about the question about adding other officers, assistants, and those types of things. So yeah, my understanding is there'll be full training and you'll have plenty of time alert to make the transition with us.
Okay. Well, I know we packed a lot of information in a short time period there, but all good things. We had some good questions going along the way. And I guess that's where I would kind of like to throw it open now. Gary Lindgren, did we answer your question on conversion?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Kurt, has there been any other questions we need to answer in chat, or I'd certainly throw it open to any questions that anybody wants to toss out?
No, I think we've pretty much answered anything that was in the chat box. So yeah, I guess open it up for questions.
I have a question.
Sure.
Jerry from Ames. I know that we've had a lot of talk in the last few weeks particularly, and I'm guessing the rest of you have as well, Just kind of curious where folks are at with the plan to go back to in-person, or if any clubs are in person already. I know we are hoping to go back, but probably not till fall, and we're happy to Zoom. Might be a good opportunity to see what else is happening out there.
Jerry, Karen, and Spencer, we have been back in person for a few months now, and we also will Zoom if someone requests that they would like us to have it Zoom. But we've been back in person. Of course, our facility is large enough where we meet, so social distancing is not really a problem, and it's worked well.
One thing that you might want to look into, that because I've worked with a number of clubs that are doing a similar thing to Karen with a hybrid format and everything, in order for it to be a good experience for those that do Zoom in, it's important for them to be able to hear people in the room where they're meeting in person. And so a directional or conference, I think they call it, microphone is very helpful so that you can hear the other voices in the room. Otherwise, you're only hearing like maybe the president at the podium, and you're not getting all the different comments that come through. So I think you can get them on Amazon for $40, $50. They're fairly expensive. You can get some higher end ones like an owl that actually rotates and gravitates towards the voices, but you don't need to go that hog wild. I also have if you are interested in, you send me an email or let Lisa know, and then I can get it to you. The Northwest Indie Club put together a pretty good, some guidelines that they passed out to their members when they did make the movement back to in-person with a hybrid format. So I'd be glad to share that with you too.
Our club in Mason City was hybrid back in the fall, but then when everything hit the fan again, we went back to Zoom, and now in February, went back to hybrid. And we have our members register so we know how many meals to have there, and we only have room for 32 members at a time. The rest of it is done by Zoom on a big screen, so it works out quite well.
Anybody else want to toss in how they're meeting right now?
Yeah, we're going to have our meeting April 16th, I think. It's going to be our first one because all of our members are 70 and above, except for myself. So, and everybody has their shots and stuff. So we're going to just try and see how everybody adapts to it. I also got another question. The Kiwanis Connection, is that another program, or is that part of the portal thing?
That's part of the portal where you do your reporting. Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I didn't know if I had to go start looking for everything.
Back on the meeting front too, I'm hearing a lot of clubs, several are looking at meeting outdoors as the weather is starting to look a little better out there. So there are several that are meeting in parks or in schools where they sponsor programs in the school parking lot or those types of things. That is also an option for those that want to feel a little bit more physically distanced, but still be able to see one another without a mask on or with a mask on.
West Des Moines started hybrid in the middle of March. Been quite successful.
Cedar Falls, we are staying on Zoom probably at least until this fall. And we're hesitant to change because we're getting better attendance on Zoom than we do in person, even before the pandemic. So our percentage is higher for attendance. So that's kind of a quandary too.
Not to be the bad news Boyd, but I also am concerned about clubs that are attracting. I think it's wonderful, and I fully encourage and endorse interclubbing, but also look at your clubs. Are you having more people zooming in from other districts and from around your own district and all, rather than having your own members? So it's, I think it's important to look at what is your total membership number and how many of those members are showing up on a regular basis, whether you're in person or in a hybrid format or just meeting virtually by Zoom and all. So sometimes you can get sort of starry-eyed by seeing how many people and get excited that we have so many people on our call, and yet more than half of them are not even in your local area to help you with your service and everything. So just a word to the wise for what it's worth.
All good things to take into consideration, definitely. Okay. Well, are there any?
I don't understand that, Brad. If you send out a link for your Zoom meeting, how are people outside your area getting it?
A lot of clubs are publishing like on their calendar the link for the Zoom link or whatever, so you can Zoom around. You guys there on your district, Lisa's done a great job of putting on the front page there all the clubs that are meeting. All you have to do is contact the club secretary and get the Zoom link and all. So, and all of your club, all of your district officers, from administrators on up, have a directory and have access to that information. So, but there are several clubs where they'll have people from, I've been on the Northwest Indie Club attracts like 6 people every week from Jamaica that come onto their calls and all, and that's wonderful. And it adds to, you know, the conversation and gives some enthusiasm, but I don't want them to be deluded by thinking that they've got such a great turnout for their meeting when half of the people are not members of their club. You have to face reality eventually that you need to entice more people from your own club. It's the same thing. When I make club talks, I look at their Facebook page and I see that a club of 20, this one I spoke to this morning had 22 members, and yet they have 100 likes and 110 followers. And while I know a lot of our district leaders are following the Facebook pages of clubs in their district, it leads me to believe that there are a lot of opportunities to eventually bring more people into the club. But that's membership for the next time, isn't it, Lisa?
That's a good teaser, though. I mean, you know, it all fits together, Brad. So no problem. Okay. All right. Well, other questions over information I presented or things going on at the international level, at the district level? I want to make sure we're answering your questions and things that are on your mind.
I have a question on the reporting the number of people that are served by a service project. We do quite a bit of work in conjunction with our city park department and a tree planting project that our utilities puts on every once in a while. How do we judge if we're repairing a shelter or if we're building a shelter, which we actually have in the past? How do we determine how many people we're serving?
That's
a good question.
Good question. And I think everybody grapples with that. And, you know, I really don't, I don't have a really good answer because you know, since I told you I'm club secretary and I grapple with the same thing. Is it, do you kind of try to figure how many people come to the park? Is there a way you can talk to the park and get an estimate of numbers? I mean, if somebody's got a good answer, let's hear it.
Susan, I don't know as though I have a good answer, but what I do on my report is, you know how you incorporate, you write up what your project is and all of that. Mm-hmm. Inside of that, I put, keep in mind that the number of people that I've represented and helped is a guesstimate because of the project itself. And then I just do a figure that, you know, I probably overestimate on some and under on others. It's because you bring up a good point. So that's why when I enter the stuff, and this is me typing, by the way, but you know, when I type in the stuff, that's what I put in my information there, just so, because there is no other answer, but at the same time, you know, how do we make that happen as well? It's hard.
It is.
Yeah.
We only count the kids, right? We don't count adults.
That is what the report asks for, yes. How many kids has this impacted?
We had our signature project was Kiwanis Park, and we received that information through two sources. One was the city, because they have the Parks and Recreation Department, and they do monitor approximately how many people utilize the different parks throughout the city on an annualized basis. So we can get that number, and that's strictly an estimate. The other route that we went was, because this park was in a certain part of town that was underserved, we went to the school district and asked the school district how many youth are in that geographical area of that school that would utilize that park. And we had to have those numbers basically for our funding that we went through, and how many we were going to serve with that, no matter what foundation we approached to help get funding too. So those are two sources we've looked at in the past.
One of the problems we have, we've got a shelter that we did some repairs on this fall, and we'll be painting then this spring. It's at a crossroads where 3 sections of our local bike trail, which is a big draw into our area, where it intersects, and people stop there regardless of what direction they're coming from or going. And to come up with a count, I would have no clue. And I have a feeling our Parks Department would say, yeah, we have no clue either. So, but I like your idea, Kathy. I'll make sure I do something like that.
Nancy, did you have a comment or a question?
I do. I have a question. I'm still getting a little hung up on Portal Buzz and Kiwanis Connect and a couple other names that were out there. I've been doing this for 5 years, so I kind of thought I knew what I was doing, but this is making me a little nervous because I do post our newsletter every week in Portal Buzz, and I've been doing membership through Portal Buzz still, and all everything still through Portal Buzz. And so when that first quote was up there about only 59 clubs, I posted real quick because I was like, oh my gosh, maybe we're in one, because I do the monthly report every month by the 10th. And so I thought, okay, maybe I'm putting it in the wrong place. So I just want to make sure that I'm doing the right thing. So it's okay that I'm using Portal Buzz for now, is the question, I guess, because everything's automatically going to transfer at some point in time.
Portal Buzz, and I guess the best answer I can give you, if Portal Buzz kind of was a universal term used for reporting a few years back. And so you may be doing it through Kiwanis Connect, but just be calling it Portal Buzz. That's kind of the same what I'm finding with a lot of clubs that were familiar with that. So maybe you and I just need to connect, after the meeting, and we can talk about that and make sure. And I can definitely check to make sure that you're one of the clubs that are in that 59. So
okay,
we can make sure you're doing okay. Because I think if you are reporting, I'm guessing that is going through Kiwanis Connect. So
I put all our treasurers reports up there. I put everything up there. So it says Portal Buzz. I don't know. Maybe I'm okay.
All right.
That'd be great.
I do everything through Portal Buzz, and I just looked, and our monthly reports are all there.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll connect on that. Okay.
Okay, that sounds good. Thanks.
You bet. We're kind of sitting at 8 o'clock. What I would like to do, if you're all okay with this, I do want to give some more time to interact. I think it's really important for us to kind of get ideas off of each other too. What I'd like to do is send you all into breakout rooms, so we have a little bit smaller groups. We can get some little bit better chat going. We'll probably do about 10 minutes of this. What I'm going to ask is I'm going to just do random assignments of rooms that have everybody go into a room. If I could have at least one person in each of the rooms, just kind of help guide the conversation. So you know, there is somebody knows what to do and talk and that sort of thing. So what I'd like to do is I'm going to send rooms here in a minute, and we got a few people leaving. That's fine, but if you can jump on, I'm going to send you into a breakout room. And you can accept the invitation when you get. And like I said, if one person could kind of start the conversation, I would appreciate it. If you see an invite to join a breakout room, I'd like you to please accept that. Hello, Sue Waldron. Please accept your breakout room. You're on mute.
I had something else to do. Is it okay if I take off?
That is fine. That is fine. Thank you for coming on this evening. Hopefully you got something out of it.
Yeah, I'm anxious for the training and to get started, but I don't know enough about it to even chat. So
No, that's fine.
You did a great job.
Thank you. Thanks for coming on tonight.
You bet.